Hello, my name is Adam. Welcome to the video. Today we are looking at some old pictures of what are said to be indigenous American people. They were done by this somewhat mysterious man known as John White. He is most commonly associated with the colony of Roanoke, which mysteriously vanished. And if you're familiar with the channel, you know I don't give 100% trust in the narrative that we're told. Today we will consider the possibility of a more diverse pre-colonial America. The power structure has long divided people against each other, but perhaps if we understand who we truly are, we might behave differently. We have several accounts of pre-colonial Irish in America, such as the following. The Spanish reported the finding of an Irish colony in what is now South Carolina, calling it Duhair, place of the Irish. The Vikings also reported tribes with Celtic or Irish languages. We also have these discoveries of what is called Ogham script, or ancient Celtic writings in West Virginia, as well as Colorado. The Irish themselves have a story of a Saint Brendan traveling to America too. This isn't about whitewashing history, as I believe there was also a pre-colonial Moorish presence in the Americas as well. Consider those called the Washita Moors as an example. This is about gaining a fuller picture of our history and perhaps a more united past that we're not aware of. Returning to John White and the Roanoke colony, I feel these often repeated stories sometimes get in the way of really understanding what was going on. If you look at his art, a lot of what you find goes along with the narrative that we understand. However, some of it seems quite unusual to modern eyes. One note, when I looked at the Wikipedia page of John White, watercolors that are more aligned with the traditional understanding of Native peoples were included, and the ones that had the fair complexion or red hair were excluded or provided without color. Is this an example of only telling a specific narrative? With unusual depictions like these in mind, we have examples of references all across North and South America to red-haired giants. Here are a few of these traditional stories. We have examples from these like the Paiute in Nevada, the Choctaw, the Comanche, and many more. Are these watercolors a confirmation of a widespread native legend? We are told that many of John White's watercolors were used by master engraver Theodore De Bry in his classic works on the Americas. I wonder about this old world documentation and whether there were specific agendas at play. One drawback with the engraving is that we are lacking the vibrant colors that White used. A look at a few of his engravings, much of which was based directly on the watercolors of John White. We have some of these brutal scenes as well as depictions of hunting and violent conflict. I believe there may have been much more going on this continent than we are told. Here is one of White's watercolors, the fair-skinned, tall individuals with the red hair. And here we have a map depicting the same type of person with the description giant-like people. Are we looking at the giants of the Native American legends? If you watched my video on Pyramid Lake, you might remember the reference to the Paiutes in conflict with a tribe of giants. They have an oral tradition of red hair giants referred to as Si Te Ka. They had red hair and sometimes described as being cannibals. This is where the story gets messy. We are told there was a discovery of these giants' remains, but that the miners destroyed many of the artifacts, which seems unusual that they would do that. However, even Google is telling us that there were newspaper reports of 8 to 10 foot giants reportedly found. Maybe this could be the race Lincoln was talking about when he referred to extinct giants whose bones fill the mounds of America. Here are a couple more watercolors, as well as the colorized engravings based on White's works. This is the first example. We'll look at the color image and also a translation of the original Latin. This one is depicting what is called the juggler or sorcerer. It says they have their magicians, they use songs and incantations, etc. We have this gentleman with his arrows, as well as certain symbols on his back, entitled Marks of the Heroes of Virginia. The nobles of this province, Virginia, bear insignias tattooed on their bodies, marking their lineage, rank, and achievements. Do we see similarities with traditional Celtic tattoos? Next we have a lady with flowing red hair. It's entitled A Woman Neighboring the Picts. The Picts have to do with an ancient Celtic people. Interestingly, the name comes from painted people for the tattoos that they carried. Some have suggested these legends of red-haired giants may be referring to what are known as Nephilim in certain biblical texts, and even a subconscious link to the idea of clowns. Whether that's the case, or if we're looking at a noble people, as this image entitled Noble Mother suggests, and possibly a combination of both, the question remains as to the possibility of a more diverse pre-colonization America. That was the video for today. I hope you liked it. If you did, give it a like and follow for more.